Big UFC pay-per-view last night. Um, Considerably, it was a quick pay-per-view. Actually, usually it goes on later. For the first four fights of the main card all ended in finish. The main event was a five-round decision. I was gonna go over the full main card, but I'm just gonna skip to the co-main event and main event. I'll just hit on those two. Uh, So in the co-main event, we have Brandon Moreno versus Kaikar France for the interim flyweight championship, a rematch from a couple of years ago. Uh, the fight was different from their first fight. It was a little less action packed through the first two rounds. Um, much more technical. The first two rounds I had it, you could either have it going 1-1 or 2-0 for Moreno, but I definitely think round two went to Moreno. He was starting to take over in that round. Then in the third round, the complexion of the fight changed. Kai Car France started to land some big shots. He was able to get on top of Brandon Moreno. He started looking like he was going to, take over. He was winning that round, but later in the round, Brandon Moreno lands a nice combo on Kai Car France, and as France is backing up, Moreno throws a left body kick, and the toe of Brandon Moreno literally digs square into the midsection of Kai Car France, shuts his body off. He drops to the floor. Moreno gets on top of him, lands a couple shots. The ref calls in, ends in. It's a TKO win for Brandon Moreno. So he's the new interim flyweight champion, but I believe he's the uncrowned, undisputed flyweight champion. So now he's going to move into the fourth fight, the fourth installment in the Brandon Moreno, Davis, and Figueiredo saga. First fight was 2 years ago in December. Greatest flyweight fight of all time. Ended in a draw. Ran it back the next year in July. Moreno absolutely dominated Figueiredo, finished him in under three. Then they fought a third time, I think earlier this year in January, I believe. And it was a super, super close fight. A lot more technical than the first two fights. Not as a lot of action as the first two fights. And I believe Moreno won it, but the three judges that night gave it to Figueredo, so he won. We expected to have the fourth fight right after that. Figueredo refused to fight Moreno because he felt Moreno was saying some disrespectful things about him, which I find a little funny because Brandon Moreno, if you just listen to the guy on interviews or his fellow fighters or MMA reporters, uh, the boss Dana White talk about him, he's one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. He's got nothing bad to say, and it showed at the end of the fight in his post fight interview. He David Figueredo was called into the octagon. They had a little face off, and Moreno basically said face to face to him, he was like, "Listen, I don't hate you. Uh, I like you. I respect you. I um I hope that you can forgive me if I've said anything that offended you or anything, and I forgive you for anything that you've said against me." And he basically said, I could come in here and talk trash to you and belittle you, but I think about my family at home, my kids, my wife, all the fans around the world, and he says to himself, I want to be a better example and a good role model. So he puts his extends his hand for a handshake. They shake hands, and the beef is squashed. So now we're moving on to the fourth fight. Hopefully later this year in December, maybe earlier next year. But that fourth fight is going to be the first time in UFC history two guys fight four times. Um, and then in the main event, a lot of emotions for Brandon in this fight because I love me some Amanda Nunes. Whew. So Amanda Nunes, the goat of the women's MMA, in my opinion, lost her last fight against Juliana Pena. She got submitted in the second round, and I kind of went into that a little bit, so I won't go into it right now in the last episode that we did. So the first round, you know, starts off kind of slow, methodical. I give the round to Nunes, and I tweeted throughout the entire fight, so I'm just gonna basically read them verbatim. So the first round one to Nunes, Pena had a couple nice flurries, but Nunes controlled the majority of that round and was the aggressor. going into round two was stuff of champions. It's what champions are made of. Amanda Nunes knocked her down 3 different times, absolutely dominated her. It was a 10-8 round. She fought so smart and so patient. Every time she knocked her down, all 3 times, she could have engaged on the ground, but she decided not to because she was beating her up on the feet. And she basically said, "Get back up. Let's do this again. Let's go. I'm not going to go down there," because that's what led to my defeat last time, which knocked off my gas tank. So she didn't engage, which I thought was incredible. Going into round 3, then I was shocked, and Nunes decided to engage in the grappling department with Pena. She started to take her down. She was being really effective, which landed some big shots. She landed some nice elbows, one that split Pena wide open right on the hairline of the head. She started gushing blood throughout the rest of the fight. Now, I will say Pena was showing some good technique. She was trying to get a triangle in. She was trying to armbar. She was trying to omoplata. She tried a bunch of different things to try and submit Amanda, but Amanda was just one step ahead of her and was just playing the smart game, not overextending on the ground. Going into the 4th round, it was a hard fought round. That was probably the most grueling round of the fight for both of them because that's the round that Pena really made Nunes work on the ground, where she was on Pena was on her back, but she was making her work every second of that round. And she had 3 attempts in the omoplata, which is a hard thing to explain, but if you saw it, each time Pena had Nunes's glove, which is against the rules, you're not allowed to grab the glove. The referee didn't notice the last 2 times, but it was neither here nor there. The fight played out how it played out. She didn't get submitted, so she had her in an armbar, a tight armbar, uh, somewhere in the 4th or 5th round. I forget exactly, but Amanda said after the fight that it wasn't really that tight. I wasn't in danger really. I was fine. So, but you saw Pena crank her in her face. She was like, "This is my last effort. This was it." She didn't get it done, and then the 5th round was pretty much the same. She just took Pena down. Pena tried to throw up submissions and stuff, but nothing was working. So I tweeted out, "The GOAT is back, double champ twice. This is a 2-time double champ now. Another record in the legacy of Amanda Nunes." The fight ended in my opinion, it was 50-44. So I love it. And I hope the next fight is Valentina Shevchenko versus Amanda Nunes, the trilogy. Those are the 2 best female fighters of all time on this planet. And I would love to see them run it back for the 3rd time.
That was dominating performance, just constantly taking her to the ground with ease. It was
It
insane. 3
was.
knockdowns, 1 round.